Donald, how does it feel watching that back 1 year on?
It doesn't perturb me particularly. It's just something that actually happened. It doesn't. The fire event itself is just something. It just happened. It was just something I couldn't control. It doesn't give me nightmares. Doesn't perturb me. Lots of other things after do, but the fire event was the least of our troubles, in fact.
Donald, obviously we were there for the days or weeks that the fires were going through, but what happened afterwards in those early months that followed, once all of the media left, once all of the spotlight came off the fires and you were still there to pick up the pieces?
Well, look, a lot of wonderful things happened. A great deal of generosity from the world in general fell upon the fire-affected. Unbelievable generosity from big organisations and individuals. That was the first great thing that was plainly obvious. And then on the months going forward, the farmers' first priorities were getting feed for their cattle and securing their properties again with fences.
Yeah, definitely a big job, Donald. Now, you're currently living an hour away from the property. You are hoping to build an earth house. Exactly, for people who don't know, what is that and why did you choose that option?
Okay, well, look, an earth house is as it sounds. In our situation, it'll have 600 mils or more of earth on the roof and earth on three sides. It'll be buried into the side of a hill. The north fronting part of the house, which is where the view is, will be glass, done to the required bell specifications. But being buried in the ground, and its construction is such that it cannot burn and will not burn. It becomes basically a bomb shelter. Now, the reason why we've chosen that route is a number of reasons. It's going to be more expensive and a great deal more hassle just by the nature of the build. But having lost a house, and the house is one part of the deal, but losing all your possessions as a part of losing that house is the worst of the matter. And my wife has made it quite plain, and it's not unreasonable that she doesn't want to have to lose another house under any circumstances, and more importantly, the possessions. And the only way we can be guaranteed of doing that is either buying a block in Collins Street in the city, or a flat, or building a concrete construction built into the earth so that it just cannot burn, period.
When do you hope to start that new build?
All
things going well.
Yeah, all things are going well. The process has been a little convoluted to date. We've got a sketch on the back of an envelope for the house design, but we were determined not to spend any money in doing fancy grand designs if we found in the end we couldn't get a permit. So we've had to jump through a whole heap of hoops in the last 6 months. And we've been given, in principle, agreement to be allowed to build to a Bell 40 with some conditions. And now that we're at that point, we've got one more little hoop in terms of physical and logistic constraints, which we hope to have cleared by the middle of January. So I'm hopeful that we'll be able to strike a blow by perhaps mid-April with a bit of luck.
Now, Donald, I remember driving through that area when we could get into Buchan some days after the fire went through. It was just absolutely devastating scenes. How is the rest of the community recovering? Are most people in the same position as you were 1 year on? They still don't have a roof over their head within Buchan?
Yes, that's a permanent roof for sure. In the last month, I've seen, I think there's 4 houses have started with foundation work, which is clearly uplifts people's spirits considerably. Others are still having trouble probably coming to terms with the loss, etc. I think there's about 20-odd houses that were impacted in the district. The rest of the community, I think on balance, they're good, but you can never really judge what's going through a person's mind when they're by themselves. Look, in our particular case, and that's the only people I can judge by, the night of the fire was an event. I couldn't do anything about it. It happened. We never feared for our life. Therefore, I don't think it's left an emotional toil on it. The loss of the house grieves us. It was not a grand place, but we loved it. Suited our purposes exactly. But we can replace it. The loss of all of the personal important items in the house, not of any monetary value, but just stuff that brings back memories of a time and a place going backwards, all gone. And that grieves us very greatly because you can't replace them. And I'm guessing that's the same with other people. We were fortunate in that, good luck or planning or call it what you want, we saved all of our photos. So that's great. A lot of other people saved nothing at all, zero. But the biggest part of the grief we feel is the loss of the landscape, because I can't imagine that it's going to ever get back to where it was because of the nature of the burn. It was just so hot. A lot of the rocky shelves and reefs in the landscape around us have just fractured and blown apart just because of the heat. And that heat has severely impacted the vegetation. I can't imagine that...
Certainly a long road ahead, Donald Graham.
Yes, yes.
Thank you so much for your time today, and wishing both you and your wife, Bron, all the best moving forward.
Okay. Thanks a lot.